Okay, hello everybody. Songfather here on this beautiful day, May 20th. It's still out there, 70 something degrees. It was quite a day, and they were saying we were going to have showers coming in somewhere around 3 o'clock. 5 o'clock, no showers. It's okay. And but I feel bad for the puppies out there, the doggies. We have Lucky over here, and he's having a hard time with the heat today. He hasn't got rid of all his winter fur because they shed like I don't know 11 and a half months out of 12. But so yeah, he was having a hard time with it today, and just kind of laying around, and. And then I heard from Bree Bree that their dog Pebbles, who I've known since he was like, I don't know, 5, 6 months old, and now he's 9 and a half. But going just for a little walk, nothing drastic, no running around, just kind of collapsed and foaming at the mouth, and rushed him over to the vet, and it was just it was a little heat stroke, and so I guess we don't realize it that. The humidity when it comes on quick like that, we're not ready for it, so please say prayers for Pebbles and Lucky and everybody else and the elderly out there that don't have their air conditioning on, or don't even have it installed yet, thinking like we got time, we got until June or July, and Mother Nature. So prayers out to all of them, and hopefully, if the showers do come through, they say it's going to, drop down into the 60s, maybe even the 50s, and that's fine. If we can get to 80 and drop down to the, high 50s, 60s, man, it would be like San Diego if we could get. I'm talking from New York. If we could get that year round, man, that would be unbelievable. I remember when my son graduated from Methodist University down in North Carolina. It was, in May, early June, and we went down there, and like I was going through some health problems anyway. What else is new? And the humidity was just like, class was closing up my sinuses or whatever it is, but it was like I was having severe bouts of vertigo, but it was, very strange. The ground was going like this wherever we went, and I was taking them shopping, and it was unbelievable. But anyway, I don't know how I got on that subject. I guess because of what's going on with the heat, and I did feel it today too, and we got to be prepared always. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. That's all I ever heard was hydrate. So anyway. So what shall we talk about before we get a couple of songs in here? I'm not going to ramble on and on and on and on and on. But holdups up here in Long Island and actually throughout the country are on the rise. All of a sudden, I can go into a whole soapbox full of stuff. Get up on my soapbox about why and when and everything else, but. I just think people are taking shortcuts. I think it's a shortage on drugs, and I think it's there's plenty of jobs out there, and people just aren't getting them, or they're not getting enough money. They can't supply their habit, whatever it is. I don't know, but I noticed that it is definitely up on the rise, and people getting hurt, and people getting pistol whipped, and people, it's not your money. What's yours? Your life is yours, and people got to remember that. It's a nice story to read once in a while, like the coach in the school the other day. I'm sorry, forgive me, what state it was in, but some moron walked into the school carrying a shotgun, and this coach, physical ed coach, lacrosse coach, whatever he was, tackled the guy. And kicked the rifle away, and thank God he got locked up and nobody got hurt. But that's also I don't want to say foolish, but it is. I remember when I was working on Fordham Road in an A&P there. I worked. I was a assistant manager, and this guy Gary Crosby was the co-manager, good friend of mine, and we were experiencing a real rapid rise in armed robberies, but violent armed robberies, and not one person. We're talking, 3, 4 people coming in at a time. Every one of them had something in their hands, and he used to say all the time, "They come in when I'm here, I'm gonna wrestle a gun from them. I'm gonna blow them all away." And I used to say, "What is wrong with you? It's not your money. You do your best you can to protect it, in the daily operations of the store. But if somebody comes in with a gun and says, 'Give me the money,' not only will I give them the money, I'll go start their car for them, and I'll make them a sandwich to take on the way out. I mean, what's wrong with you?" And he goes, "I'm just, I have no patience for that." So anyway, I go on vacation, and when I come back, I come up to the store, and I'm doing my thing, whatever I got to do. And I said to somebody, I think maybe it was the bookkeeper, "Is Gary coming in tonight?" And I got that, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe he got fired. And I was like, "What's the matter? You don't work? What's going on?" And then they told me the second day that I was on vacation, 3 guys came in with guns, forced him into the office as he was going up the steps into the office. He turned around quick and went to grab the gun, and they pulled the trigger and went right into his stomach, ripped a hole in his stomach, and he died right there. For what? I don't understand. For what? His family, his friends, his whole life ahead of him is gone now because he was going to be a hero. Give him the money. That's it. And if somebody fires you for giving them the money, then get a lawyer and get all the money you can out of it. I'm not an advocate of suing for every little thing that happens to us in life, but if it's worth it, if it's legitimate, then go sue them. So because it's happened that people have gotten fired for not hiding money onto the side, and not opening the safe, and not lying, saying, "I don't have the combination." It's not worth. There's no job in the world that is worth it. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And some people just got a little too much to say in life on what we should do, what we should be, and everything else. And Friday, I was sitting in church, and I was sitting talking with my honey there. And we were whispering, and I mean whispering. We were in the very last row. There was maybe 6 people in the whole place. And this lady comes up from like the 4th row all the way up in the front. And I thought she was leaving. And she comes walking, and boom, she stops right at the pew. "Let me tell you something," she says. And right away, my guinea is getting up, and I'm like, She goes, you're in the Lord's house, and there's no talking allowed." I'm like, "Well, I don't know about that." I said, "No," but we were whispering, and she said, "Well, the people over there were shushing you. That's why I came." So I look, and there's nobody sitting there. I said, "Those people?" She said, "Yes." I'm like, okay, this lady's nuts, I guess. So I'm telling you right now, just keep your voice down. So I just couldn't help it. I said, "Like, what are you? You the queen of the pews? What is it with you?" And she goes, "No, I'm not the queen of the pews, but have some respect for others that are here." And I'm like, okay, whatever. So then we went outside and continued our conversation. But I'm like, what is this lady's life possibly like? That she has to get up and walk from the front of the church all the way to the back. And believe me when I tell you, we were whispering, okay? Not constantly. It wasn't a chatter conversation going back and forth. But when we did have something to say to each other, we whispered. I don't know. Anyway, so Queen of the Pews, watch out for her. And here's another thing in the news. Mother pleads guilty to allowing men to pay her to rape her 5- and 6-year-old daughters. I mean, we can all lock ourselves in our room here and live in a bubble, but this is real. This is real shit that's happening out there, and it's unbelievable. And the way, I think I said it on the last show, the way it's being reported is like, ho-hum. The woman is taking money to allow men to rape her 5- and 6-year-old daughter. Are you kidding me or what? There should be outrage going all over the country. First of all, for the men that are paying it, they didn't get locked up. She should be giving that name up, and something seriously has got to be done to her. Then there was a 2-year-old in, I think it was California, The mother was caught smoking marijuana with the child in the car, and also selling the marijuana. So victims, child services got involved, and they took the child away from the mother while she goes through her court and whatever else she's got to do, and they put her in a foster home, and the foster home mother killed the 2-year-old. I mean, you shake your head again. So did anybody check this foster mother out? I mean, what would possess, unless they put her in the worst drug home, I don't know, would possess somebody to go and kill a 2-year-old girl that you're a foster mother for now? So, that word foster is, to me, it's like a blessed word. It means these children can't be with their regular parents. So we're going to foster them. We're going to help them. We're going to be there and love them and give them everything they haven't been getting as they grow older and hopefully get adopted by your loving family one day, whatever it was. And this was in less than a month's time. I think it was 2 weeks. She kills the 2-year-old. I mean, yay. Yeah, a lot of fun tonight, ain't I? So anyway, the other day they were talking about doing a remake of The Exorcist, which I hope they don't. It was a classic. It was all by itself. It was the first of its kind. Many people have tried after that, all these kinds of, Exorcist and the devil and all that other crap. Nothing could come close to that. And I remembered that when The Exorcist came out, there were long lines, and I'm talking about, especially in Manhattan, that would go all the way around the building. People waiting to go in and see this movie and get the crap scared out of them. And so anyway, I asked my father if he could, push a few buttons and pull a few strings. And he did, and he got me 10 tickets. So 5 couples went. And we didn't have to wait online, went right in, went right upstairs. We were looking, whatever. We were looking down on the people online. It was wet, and it was snowing and raining a little bit mixed together. And, we're waving to them from the window up there. And so we went in and, yes, got the living crap scared out of us. And one of my very dear friends for like forever, Joey Bedini, after he dropped his sweetheart off, he went home, and he couldn't sleep. So he got in his car and went for a ride, and he was going to take a ride down by the water, and he was in Long Beach. This is on Long Island, not Long Beach, California. And as he's driving by, he looks, and he sees smoke coming out of a church, and all of a sudden the whole church is on fire. I mean, flaming on fire, and almost to the ground before the fire department could get there, of which he stayed and helped because Joey was a volunteer fireman. And, he tells us the story the next day, and we were laughing our rear ends off because, it's The Exorcist and the church and priests, and he watches the church burn to the ground. So fast forward a little bit, and we all want to go see it again. So, you think your father could? I say, yeah, okay, we'll do something. So, Mr. Smarty Pants, me, decides, I'll handle this myself. So I call up the Lowe's in Manhattan, and I said, hi, this is Sonny Grosso Jr. Oh, yes, we took care of you a couple of weeks ago. And I said, oh, yes, it was great, thank you very much. I'd like to do it again if we can, for the same setup that my father had set up with us, And so he goes, yeah, sure, how many? And I said 10, same thing, 10 again. And so we waited and got all excited, and the weekend came. We got dressed up and got in our cars, car pulled all the way in, parked the car in the garage, walking out. Now it wasn't raining out. It was freaking freezing out. And so I walk up, and I ask for I don't remember the guy's name, but I asked for him, and he comes out. Oh, yes, hi, Mr. Grosso, how are you? I said, I'm good. And I said, you have the 10 tickets. He goes, unfortunately, you didn't come and get them. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, you have to come in the afternoon to get the tickets, and then you come back later for the show. And I said, oh, I didn't know that. They were waiting for me last time I was here. And he said, well, yeah, because your father came down and paid for the tickets. Nobody came down and paid for them, so I had to let him go. And I said, oh, man, I didn't know that he, that's the type of man he is, my father. I didn't know he took it, that he laid out the money out of his pocket. I thought he just, hey, I need 10 tickets. So, so they all went and had something to eat, and I had to stand in line in like 15-degree weather. And one of them brought me back a freaking pretzel, that was it. And then we got in to see it. So, I learned my lesson on that. But the end of the story is, so the same thing happens. That night, I used to have a Richard Nixon mask, looked just like him. And I took it and I had it on a lamp on my desk, with the one with the string around the rubber band around the back. So I had it around the lampshade. So I fell asleep and I left the light on like a little baby boy because that movie scared the crap out of me. And I woke up in the middle of the night. The room was all dark, and all I could see was the light shining out of Richard Nixon's eyes, nose, and mouth. I thought it was the devil. I jumped up. I grabbed my baseball bat and smashed the crap out of the lamp. My mother comes running in. My father, what the hell's going on? I mean, it was funny as hell. But I talked to Joey the next day, and I tell him the story, what happened with me, because the last time we went, he saw the church. And, this is no pun intended, the God's honest truth. Same thing happened again. Joey couldn't sleep, scared to death, whatever, got in the car, have a cigarette, go for a ride. He goes by the same church, and the same church is on fire again. So then we started, Joe, are you sure you're not going and setting fire to the churches? And that church burnt to the ground, and they never rebuilt it again. So what the hell? Oh, my God. Anyway, so that was a hysterical story. So let me get a little song in here for you guys and girls and any animals that might be listening. And this is, I think he did a lot of great songs, but he's just mostly remembered for this song, Mr. Engelbert Humperdinck, and Humperdinck, sorry. And it's called After the Lovin', and it's what a beautiful song. And it, just tells the story of a man, and he's in love with her just by looking at her, and I'm brushing the hair from her eyes and the way she's looking at him. And, I'm going to sing you a song after the lovin'. And it doesn't mean he's going to stand up and start singing. What he means is that, I'm not getting up and leaving now. Like, we're done, thanks very much. And no, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to sing you a song. Not bad, huh? Good song. Boom, ba-da-dum. So I sing you to sleep after the loving with a song I just wrote yesterday. And I hope you can hear what the words and the music have to say. It's so hard to explain everything that I'm feeling. Face to face, I just seem to go dry. And the love on your face is so real that it gets me kinda high. Thanks for taking me on a one-way trip to the sun. And thanks for turning me into someone. So I sing you to sleep after the loving. I brush back the hair from your eyes, and the love on your face is so real that it makes me wanna cry. And I know that my song isn't saying anything new. Oh, but after the loving, I'm still in love with you. Yeah. So I sing you to sleep after the loving. I brush back the hair from your eyes, and the love on your face is so real that it makes me wanna cry. And I know that my song isn't saying anything new. Yeah, but after the loving, I'm still in love with you. Yes, after the loving, I'm still in love with you. That's for sure. Yes, after the loving, I'm still in love with you. Bam, 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 bam. Is that a beautiful song by the Humperduck? And beautiful. Love that song, always did. And more to come. So anyway, let's we have to do it. Talk about the Yankees. Yesterday didn't look like it was going to be a good day. You know, they go ahead, then they go behind, then they tie it up, then they go behind, then they tie it up, and then it looks like it's going to be a disaster, and then Tampa Bay fell apart, and they just exploded. That's my ringtone. You like it? That's right. The Godfather. So anyway, they exploded and they ended up winning like, I don't know, 13-5, 15-5 or something like that. And the little Yankees, we like to call them, because like I said many times so far, they were all called up from AAA and a lot of names like nobody even knows it. They know who they are now, especially out there in the American League. But these kids are just banging the ball and having fun and running and stealing bases and making plays. And, I mean, just it's unbelievable, We lost Andujar, had his surgery, I believe, yesterday on his shoulder. So he'll have a whole a year to rehab and build his strength back up and be as good as new for next year for spring training. But he's gone for the season. And Mr. Stanton is down in Florida right now, and he's taking laps and a little infield practice and everything else. He's not taking swings yet, but he's very close. And Mr. Judge, Aaron Judge, 99, is reported not to be coming back before the All-Star break. And, he can personally owe a gratitude of thanks to these kids that did not force him to come back too early, which happens a lot in this sport. He's the draw, number one, and he's a mega smash home run hitter and opposite field hitter and unbelievable play in the outfield and an arm. He throws a baseball like a dart. It's unbelievable. So, if they're at 500 or if they're even under 500, then they're going to kind of rush a little bit. Knowing Judge, he would rush himself to try to come back, and then you're like, oh, man, he's going to hurt you, and then he hurts himself. So, he owes these kids a world of thanks because they're just getting it done. Woof, it's amazing. Sorry, Met fans, I didn't mean to say amazing. All right, anyway. So then I wanted to tell this story. There's a whole thing going around. I was popping up all over Facebook, and it was even on Instagram and everything. There's there's a whole bunch of different segments that do this, but the practical jokes that they're pulling out there on people now is it's just amazing. There's money behind it, so the effects are great, and the camera angles are great and everything else, and it's just hysterical. But I like to go back to a simpler time in life, and I was 8, 9, maybe maybe 10, but in that range. And I have 3 younger sisters, and Donna is a year younger than me, and Gloria 3, and Tina 4 or 5, I don't know, 4, whatever. And so my parents had to go out somewhere, and so my father's father, Grandma, came over, to babysit. Not for me, I'm the boy, but I had the little girls there, and she was just the sweetest, most soft-spoken woman on the planet, Grandma, and she could put you in your spot, never even like raise an eye or raise her voice, and I was known as Sonny Boy, and she would just have to look at me, oh, Sonny Boy, then I know, all right, stop, you just did. So I had a fish tank in my room, a nice 30-gallon, freshwater fish tank with a lot of fish in it. I liked it. I liked taking care of them, and I just hated flushing them down the toilet when they left. It was, very sad. You name them, you play with them, and you feed them, and, But, so I'd say I took a carrot, and I carved it into the shape of a goldfish, and I had it in my hand, and I called her in and said, hey, Grandma, come here. You want to... You see my fish tank? She said, oh, yes, very nice, and I turned the light on top, and look at all the fish. And so I said, yeah, hold on, I'll show you one. And I put my hand into the tank, and I pulled it out, and I just, like this, if you can see it, I just kept moving my hand, so it was like jumping around in my hand. And she's going, oh, Sonny Boy, put it back. And I said, no, I'm hungry. And I put it in my mouth, and I started chewing it, and the noise carrot makes. Well, she heard that, and she fainted. We had to pick her up and put her on my parents' bed. And, she came out right away, but she stayed on the bed for a while, like, trying to get herself together. And I'm saying, I'm sorry, Grandma. It was a carrot. I played a joke on you. And, that was a nice Sonny Boy. Oh, my, okay. And I figured, she's cool. She's not going to say anything. But that didn't happen. And I heard her telling him. She said it nicely, but she still ratted me out. She said, was everything okay? And are you okay? You look good. And she said, no, I just was, please don't say anything and don't punish him. And Sonny Boy played a trick on me. And then they told him what happened. And, oh, my God, my father on you. He let me have it, let me tell you. You do that to your grandmother? All right. So that was a funny story to tell. And she's gone now, quite a few years. But, I thought it was funny, and when we still tell the story, I still laugh, but he doesn't laugh. So, it's like I said in the last show, I was a handful. What can I tell you? I tell you another quick story, and then we'll do another song. Through McDonald's or Burger King, I don't remember where it came from, but they used to for $1.50 or whatever the hell it was, they would give you a whole package to put on a carnival to raise money to, for one of the, maybe it was the Jerry Lewis thing, muscular dystrophy or something else. And me and Bobby Marino and Mickey McDonald set up a beautiful carnival in Mickey's garage. And we had, a plate. And you pitch a dime, and if it lands on the plate, you win the prize behind that. And we had a candle that was, lit, and you get a water gun, and you shoot it at that, and if you get it in, you win. And something else I can't remember. I'll remember, but here's the trick. The plates were covered with butter and olive oil, so the dime would hit like at 2 miles an hour and skip off all that stuff at about 100 miles an hour, so nobody could ever win that prize. And then with the balloons, the darts with the balloons, that was the other one. And with the candle was here. There was a wall like right here, and you get to shoot. And if you take the water gun, and you got I think we were giving them 3 shots for a quarter or something like that. I don't know. But behind this wall here, this is the candle and this is the wall, was a fan. And the fan was blowing that way, so the water would come and then be blown away. And nobody won that. And then we took all the darts and just grinded them on the sidewalk. So, these people were hitting balloons and nothing was popping. Not only that, they were coming back off the balloons, like radar missiles. One just people are ducking and everything else, and then somehow we got caught. And so I got another beating for that. That's what you do to your grandmother and your mother, your own family. You rip off your own family. Oh, I don't know, it was crazy. So I was reminded of that the other day too, and I said, hey, you know what? Let me share it. But deep down, I'm a good guy. I was a good guy. So anyway, so let's do this song. This next song is a beautiful song by Mr. Charlie Rich, and maybe you guys all remember it. And it's about a guy who, he's in love with this girl. To him, she is the most wonderful, beautiful girl in the world. But, he, like most men do, said and did some stupid things, and, now he's sitting at home, and he's telling everybody, did you see her? Have you seen the most beautiful girl in the world? Would you tell her I'm sorry, please? Hey, did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world? And if you did, was she crying? Hey. If you happen to see the most beautiful girl that walked out on me, tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I need my baby. Whoa, won't you tell her that I love her? I woke up this morning, realized what I had done. I stood alone in the cold gray dawn. I knew I lost my morning sun. I lost my head and I said some things. Now comes the heartache that the morning brings. I know I'm wrong, I couldn't see. I let my world slip away from me. So hey, did you happen to see the most beautiful girl in the world? And if you did, was she crying? Hey, if you happen to see the most beautiful girl that walked out on me, tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I need my baby. Whoa, won't you tell her that I love her? If you happen to see the most beautiful girl that walked out on me, tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I need my baby. Whoa, won't you tell her that I love her? The most beautiful girl that walked out on me. You want to be a tough guy, huh? You want to be Mr. Macho? Well, there you go. Now what are you going to do? You know what you're going to do? You're going to keep asking everybody until you finally realize you got to do it. You got to get in the car. You got to send the flowers. That's right. And you got to say, I'm sorry. I was rude. I was like Fonzie. I was wrong. All right, so that's about it for today. I think I told you about that stupid bacon about you. Oh, here's one. Just as was in the news. Maybe you saw it. It was a woman. They don't say where she was from. I think it was Vegas. And she bought a wedding gown and got, a nice bouquet of flowers and got herself all dolled up and went and married a bridge. Okay, I'll just be quiet for a second and let that like kind of sink in. A bridge, right? A stone bridge that went across the water, and told the reporters how they even knew about it and why they would even. Well, I guess because look what we're doing. We're talking about it. She said that she loves the bridge. It's always been there for her, and it's a very strong and sturdy companion. Oh my God. Woo! Maybe she's singing this song to the bridge by Mr. Francis Albert Sinatra. For once in my life. Wow. For once in my life, I got someone who needs me, someone I've needed so long. For once unafraid, I can go where life leads me, and somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of long before I knew someone warm like you could make my dreams come true. For once in my life, I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it's hurt me before. For once I got someone I know won't desert me, I'm not alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine, you can't take it. As long as I know I've got love, I can make it. For once in my life, I got someone who needs me. Oh, here we go. For once I got someone I know won't desert me, I'm not alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine, you can't take it. As long as I know I got love, I can make it. For once in my life, I got someone who needs me. Yeah. For once in my life, I got someone who needs me. Even if it is a bridge. Oh, what'd I do there? Sorry. Anyway, so there we go. Again, once again, I'm not sure. I think it's about another 45 minutes. And so I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, as every Monday at 8 o'clock, please type into the search bar on Facebook for Mr. Fred Rubino. And it's Get the Food Out of Here with him and his wife, Christine. And they do a cooking show, and they tell you the simplest, most delicious way to make things. And, one thing is I've been making meatballs, got all the way back to I was a kid with my mom helping her out. And I always rolled them, not with any machines or ice cream scoops, and I did it with my hand, and I always squeezed it tight so it was a nice ball. And they were good. I'm not saying they weren't. But what Freddie showed me and Christine, the way to make the meatballs is the way Bella makes her meatballs, and I found out a lot of people is that they put milk in it. I did that, but they put little pieces of bread in it, and the shot meat has to be wet. And I didn't make it wet. I would squeeze it tight so it was dry, so it would be dry on the inside, Now, forget about it. He's done. I'm the meatball king now. Sorry, Rubino, not you. But so go there, 8 o'clock, Fred Rubino, and watch it. It's hysterical. They go back and forth at each other, and, she she gets on him for making a mess and not following the recipe exactly right. She's almost a gourmet chef herself, So most of these are recipes from the old days and from Grandma and Nona and Nana and everybody else. But Christine adds her own little flair to it to make it their own thing. And I'm telling you, you'll have fun, and you'll learn some new recipes. So thank you all. Love you all for tuning in. And as we always close out the show, we say 1, 2, 3. And then what do we say? I can't hear you. I can't hear you, pile. We say bam.